Hi, I'm Tim Yarter, class of '88, and we live in Battery Park City, a block and a half away from the South Tower. And we have a full view of the North Tower, so that morning I was on the couch with my 3-year-old daughter and my 5-month-old son, and we heard the plane come in, and we saw the explosion, but luckily we could not see the plane. And we watched the fire, and then I'll fast forward. When the second plane came in, I went down and we asked the building, what should we do? And they told us to stay in our apartment. It's the safest place. So we followed what the building said, and we stayed in our apartment. And about 20 minutes later, we heard a rumbling, and we literally saw the Trade Center, the South Trade Center, come right for our window, the debris. And it was, you just paused and look at it. You couldn't believe it. And then survival instincts took in, and we grabbed our children, my wife and myself, and we ran into the bathroom. And we just cowered, and we heard the debris hitting, and we were just hoping that the window would hold. And it did in our building, the closest building to the Trade Center, with the same view as us. Those people's windows didn't hold, and they lost everything. A lot of fires in those apartments, but luckily our windows held. So then when we didn't hear anything anymore, we came out, and there was it's a weird darkness. Just everything hung in the air, and there's just a glow of like an emergency light. And then all of a sudden the fire alarm started going off, so we threw a few things in a bag, and we grabbed the kids and ran down the stairwell. And as we got, we were only on the 5th floor, but as we got to about the 3rd floor, all of a sudden there was smoke. We're like, okay, it's on fire. Let's just keep going down, and we'll get outside, and it'll, we'll be safe. And we got outside, and there was just more debris, and it's just dark. And so we ran into the emergency exit's right next to our lobby, so we ran into our lobby. And when we got in the lobby, we're trying to figure out what to do, and building management came in and said, go back up to your apartment. That's the safest place. Obviously not realizing that we just watched the World Trade Center come right for our window. So eventually the firemen came in and said, we're evacuating this building, your building's next. And unfortunately, as we're watching them evacuate the building, we heard another rumbling, and the North Tower came down. And we were just sitting in our lobby, which has 3 sides are glass, and you don't know what's going to happen. And again, it's darkness, it's just pitch black. And one of the workers is doing some sort of chant, and our daughter is crying, and we're trying to cover their heads with wet towels or whatever we could get. And finally, about 2 minutes later, the doors rush open, and all these emergency workers come in, and they're just covered in soot. And and they're like, they clean themselves up, and they rushed back out to just help people, and that's an amazing thing to see. But then all of a sudden we're left alone again, and we're like, we're wondering, have they forgotten about us? What's going to happen to us? And after about 10 minutes, another fireman came in and said, follow us, we're going. And at this point, you could still only see a few feet ahead of you. So I literally, we were holding our kids, and I just focused my vision on my wife, just so she was ahead of me, just so I wouldn't lose her. And we made it out. The back of our complex is right next to the Hudson River, the Esplanade in Battery Park City. When we got out to the Esplanade, it was totally different. The sunlight was out. There was still smoke and ash, but it was like night and day. And then the firemen gave us their wet towels for the kids, and they put us on a golf cart and got us down to the South Cove in Battery Park City, where they were just chopping away the the wooden railings and putting people on boats, and we wound up in Jersey City at a triage center for about 5 or 6 hours with just the view of downtown Manhattan, watching what was going on. And eventually we got sent to Bayonne, New Jersey. They said, take the light rail, and when you get to Bayonne, you can go anywhere. And we got to Bayonne, and we wound up in a parking lot with a deli and a VFW hall. And basically they said, you're here because nobody's getting to Bayonne. You know, we're locked down. And this nice woman saw us standing in this parking lot looking for shade. And she had a daughter who was about a year and a half to 2 years, a little younger than our daughter. And she said, oh, you know, you look hot. Why don't you come in our car? So we were in our car. And then eventually she said, you have nowhere to go. Why don't you come to our house? And they took us in for about 5 hours until my wife's mother could come. They bought us dinner. They had apple pie. It was possibly the nicest thing that someone's ever done for me and my family. And that's the things I'll remember the most, is the kindness and the generosity. Thank you.